The value of retail sales in the first 9 months of this year fell nearly 3% compared with the same period in 2014. The government expects weak retail sales to continue in the short term. Some businesses see an opportunity as rents start dipping. Seeing an early Christmas around town, these are attempts by some businesses to trigger spending in the face of slowing retail sales by moving Christmas promotions ahead 2 weeks earlier than usual. Latest figures from the Census and Statistics Department don't paint a pretty picture. The provisional estimate of the value of total retail sales in September was put at $35.2 billion, a 6.4% drop year on year. The value of total retail sales in the first 9 months of 2015 is less 2.7% compared with the same period in 2014. In terms of sales volume, it was a 3.1% decrease in September from a year earlier. The biggest drop in value of sales compared with a year ago came in luxury goods such as jewelry, watches and clocks, and other valuable gifts, plunging nearly 23%. Clothing and apparel dropped 12.3% and department store sales figures dipped 5.1%. But some businesses are seeing it as an opportunity as rents also begin to fall. This man who runs restaurants in Macau says rent in Hong Kong had been too expensive for the business to be set up shop here. Now, given the drop in rent, he believes the timing is super reasonable for opening an eatery or two here in the coming few months. Still, the government forecasts a continued slowdown in tourism, which in turn means restrained customer spending. And depending on the global economic outlook, there may be repercussions on the local economy and the job market. The Consulate General of Israel in Shanghai recently released a public service video to thank Shanghai for helping Jews during World War II. The short film, shot in Israel, features hundreds of Israelis holding signs saying thank you in Chinese to express gratitude to Shanghai and the Chinese people for the shelter and friendship during that time. Some Israelis in the video are former refugees who grew up in Shanghai, and in the video, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu also expresses thanks to the Chinese people.
The place that Jews could come to and save their lives was here in Shanghai. More than 20,000 chose to do so, saving their lives and the lives of their family. They shared life here with their Chinese neighbors, the good with the bad, the happiness with the sorrow. It was a hard time for everybody, but the Jews and the Chinese lived as friends, as good neighbors. And for that, the Jewish people will always be thankful. And because of that, we thought it is a right way of doing it by creating a short movie called Xie Xie Shanghai.
Pullman said the film was supported by Jewish refugee descendants and a wide range of other people. The film will be played in Shanghai's public spaces and on the internet. During World War II, over 20,000 Jews found shelter in Shanghai after fleeing Nazi-occupied Europe. At the end of the war, most left China and immigrated to Israel, the United States and elsewhere. The first China-Mongolia Expo opened on Friday morning in Hohhot, capital of North China's Inner Mongolia Autonomous Region. Food, garment, accessories and tourism products from Mongolia were shown to visitors. Chinese Vice Premier Liu Yandong read Chinese President Xi Jinping's message of greetings at the opening ceremony and made a keynote speech. During the ceremony, models from China and Mongolia showed traditional costumes. Sponsored by the Chinese Ministry of Commerce, Mongolian Ministry of Industry and Agriculture, and China's Inner Mongolian Autonomous Regional People's Government, the exhibition was held in the light of the joint declaration of comprehensive strategic partnership between China and Mongolia. This is the first state-level bilateral fair held under the instructions of heads of state of the two countries. The exhibition had 4 sections: the investment and trade negotiations, the meeting forum, the exhibition and sale, and the culture exchanges, totaling 32 events of activities. A two-day international conference on Buddhist circuit, the first of its kind in the world, was held in Bangladesh capital Dhaka recently. Inaugurating the conference at Bangabandhu International Conference Centre in the capital, Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina called upon all to work together for the promotion of tourism based on Buddhist culture and traditions. Sheikh Hasina said Bangladesh is a country with enormous potentials for tourism. The Prime Minister said this country has all the treasures to emerge as a new tourism destination on the world map. Spelling out her government's steps for the development of the tourism industry, the Prime Minister said the sector has started playing an important role again in the overall socio-economic uplift of the country, thanks to well-thought-out plans and programs by the present administration. Sheikh Hasina said her government has framed the National Tourism Policy 2010 for the overall development of the tourism industry and establishing Bangladesh as a tourist destination in the world. She said the government has taken a decision to celebrate 2016 as the Tourism Year or Visit Bangladesh Year 2016 for further strengthening the campaign and marketing of the tourism industry. Later, the Prime Minister visited the souvenir corner set up at Bangabandhu International Conference Centre on the occasion of the conference. Meanwhile, the Buddhist archaeological relics of Bangladesh are part of the World Heritage. These may add a new dimension to the tourism sector of the country. The foreign delegates from various countries expressed their hopes while visiting the Buddhist temples at Ramu of Cox's Bazar as part of the technical tour of the International Buddhist Conference on Tourism recently.
It's a very important temple, not just for Bangladesh, but it is an important temple for the whole of the world. And I would like to thank Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina for taking good care of the Buddhist heritage sites in Bangladesh.
It is remarkable how history has been recorded and preserved here. I must give very good credit to the people that are keeping this alive and to the government that's protecting and supporting this thing. I would like to see more people come to enjoy this place.
Bangladesh government has given a message, please come to this country.
For over 400 years, many Japanese have chosen Hoi An as their second home. From the initial personal attachment to Vietnam, the relationship between Japanese traders and the local Vietnamese has blossomed into family ties and, on a larger scale, a close relationship between the two nations. To this day, that relationship still flourishes. Today, Hoi An City still retains many remnants of the past cultural exchange between Japanese traders and the local Vietnamese, from the Japanese covered bridge to Hoi An ancient town to the Japanese pottery and porcelain being sold in the old town. This shows a strong development in trade relations and cultural exchange between the two nations over the course of 100 years. Sakumoto Emko, a tourist from Japan, said when she visited the Japanese covered bridge and heard about its history, she felt very excited and even more impressed with the town. Kurokawa Chiaki, another tourist from Japan, said she was quite surprised to see so many traces of Japanese culture are still intact in Hoi An. She hopes that the traditional relationship between Japan and Vietnam will continue to develop. The 400-year relationship between Vietnam and Japan is exhibited through the annual Vietnam-Japan Cultural Festival in Hoi An. Among the numerous activities in the festival, there is one that attracts a lot of attention from the young Vietnamese, the Nirikiri making class. Nirikiri is a type of confection made from white beans and is often seen in a typical Japanese tea ceremony. Ngo Yen Thi Vi Nga, Cham Chao Wat, Hoi An, Quang Nam Province loves Japanese food. She wants to learn about Japanese confection to understand more about their culture. Many exciting activities took place on the banks of the Hoi River within Hoi An's 13th Vietnam-Japan Cultural Festival. The event has become a unique tourism attraction, drawing visitors to the old town for years. It's also a way to preserve and promote the values of an ancient urban heritage that bears the hallmark of Japanese culture. A stone sculpture of a face the size of a fingernail features a rounded chin, slanted eyes and thick lips. Relic was discovered at the Suyangge Paleolithic site in Danyang, North Chungcheong Province, South Korea. It is presumed to have been made during the late Paleolithic era 35,000 years ago. Experts believe that the eyes and mouth were engraved on a face-shaped stone using a sharp tool. Woo Jong-yoon from the Institute of Korean Prehistory said these relics help us understand what people back then were thinking about and what their emotional state was like. Another stone relic, which appears to be a ruler for measuring length, was also discovered at the same relic site. It has 23 markings engraved at 0.4 centimeter intervals. If its authenticity is verified, it could be the first recorded measuring tool in the history of humanity and will serve as convincing evidence that Paleolithic people were familiar with mathematical and geometrical concepts. The discovery of the engraved stone relics is unprecedented around the world and could provide valuable clues to life during the Paleolithic era. In the celebration of Hanbok Day on Wednesday, a Hanbok fashion show took place at Gyeongbok Palace to show the diverse beauty of the traditional Korean clothing. Let us take a look at the elegant beauty of Hanbok displayed under the autumn moonlight. The elegant steps of fashion models dressed in Hanbok mesmerized the spectators at a Hanbok gala held on ancient palace grounds under the gentle autumn moonlight. These modernized Hanbok outfits have been made for easier movement. They may look unfamiliar at first, but people soon become accustomed to them. Up-and-coming designers have showcased their Hanbok creations that can be worn in daily life. Ha Ji-won, actress and Hanbok PR ambassador, said Hanbok is part of their beautiful culture and heritage. It's something they want to publicize more to the world. This year marks the 19th Hanbok Day. Girl idol group members dressed in Hanbok walked down the runway and later performed on stage with Gyeongbok Palace in the backdrop. Choi Jong-chul, director, Hanbok Advancement Center, said this event was held at a palace so that more foreign tourists would get to know about Korean culture. It was also an attempt to develop Hanbok as a tourism attraction. The South Korean Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism plans to hold more events to facilitate Hanbok's rise as a new tourism and cultural content.